Great.
Yeah.
Make sure you're in janitor. I think we're good.
Good morning, all.
Good morning.
Board of Port Commissioners meeting will convene. We can start with the invocation. We do have a pinch hitter. Brian, I understand you're pinch hitting for us. The rabbi was unable to come here. If we could all stand for that and then the pledge, please.
Good morning, everybody. Nice to see you. Quick prayer here. Heavenly Father, as we gather for this meeting, give us the use of your gift of peace and understanding that we may approach the matters we must govern today with sincere and just hearts. We ask for your guidance in our decision-making and thank you for the leadership bestowed upon us. Thank you, Lord, for the servicemen and women defending and protecting our freedoms. Please be with them and keep them safe in your loving hands so that they may soon return home to their families. We ask this in your name. Amen.
Amen. Please turn to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thanks, Brian. Next item on the agenda is our annual reorganization, the Board of Port Commissioners.
Good morning, Commissioners and Special Management Committee. For the record, I am Claudia Curtin, and I am the County Record Services Manager, and it's my privilege to represent the Clerk's Office to conduct the annual reorganization of the Board of Port Commissioners. As a reminder, any commissioner may nominate another commissioner or themselves to serve as chair. Nominations do not require a second, but a vote is required to close nominations, and a roll call vote is required for each nomination. The floor is now open for a nomination for chair.
I nominate Cecil Pendergrass as chairman.
I'll stick at that.
I move we close nominations.
Thank you. Nominations are closed. I will now call for a vote for the election of chair for Commissioner Pendergrass by district. Commissioner Ruane?
Yes.
Commissioner Pendergrass. Oh.
Yes. I thought Ray was on it here.
Commissioner Malika?
Yes.
Commissioner Hammond?
Yes.
Commissioner Petrosky?
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you
It's
for
now
the-
yours to take over for vice chair.
Thank you. Thank you to my board for the vote of confidence. Look forward to a great year of the RSW and our special management team. Ray, you had a chance there. You could have volunteered, but still nice to see you on that side of the table. So,
Pleasure to be here, Tristan.
again, thank you. At this time, we'll take nominations for vice chair. I nominate Commissioner Malika.
I'll second that.
I move we close nominations.
Any public comment on that? Any objections? No objections? Congratulations, David Malika. Thank you.
Thank you all for the vote of confidence, and I look forward to serving in that capacity.
Thank you, and I'd like to introduce our newest commissioner, Trish Petrosky. This is her first meeting with us today. We've been working with us for last month, so thank you. Welcome. She's been getting her feet wet every day, working and being out in the community and being at the office every day. So this is our actual first meeting. And then next week on the 20th, we have a board meeting, so it'll be our first meeting. So congratulations, I hope you're having a good time, and thank you for your efforts and volunteering for this job.
Thank you. Happy to be aboard.
Great, thank you. Okay, we'll move on to the recap. We only have one item to be pulled by Commissioner Malika, item C. We're going to the consent agenda. Any item to be pulled by discussion of board other than number 11, Commissioner Hammond?
I have none, Mr. Chairman.
I have none.
I have none.
Commissioner Petrosky, any?
I have none.
Okay. I'm going to take a motion to approve the balance of the items.
So moved.
Second.
Any public comment on the balance of the items? We have one public comment card, Henry Garcia. Is that on the consent?
No, that's.
You're right, sorry. Okay, and any public comment on the consent? Any objection? No objection, motion carries. Commissioner Malika, number 11, please.
Thank you all. I appreciate the opportunity to discuss this matter. These union negotiations these are complex labor agreements. I mean, this one pay plan is 77 pages long, right? So there's a lot of things in this, these negotiations. And I appreciate staff and all of our firefighters for doing their great work every day. But there was a couple things when we as convened as a board in the shade session to discuss the pay plans. We left there, the first time we had an impasse, and it came back to us because we said, we want to be competitive with the market, we want to be fair to our employees, we want to make sure that we're competitive in the market for other agencies, and we made a special effort to raise the floor, right, because our starting people were below where we wanted them to be. And then we also made a deliberate effort that we didn't want to raise the ceiling on the highest paid people was part of our discussion in that meeting because they were already at 116% of market in that particular silo. So I mentioned this for that, and then there's the pay plan concern on the upper end for that one particular tier of the max of the highest paid people that I wanted to talk about. And then there was another item that caught my attention that I wanted to ask Steve to explain to us a bit. On 39.07, it says, time worked during emergencies and unforeseen airport events. When the executive director or designee designates at an event and as an emergency, bargaining unit personnel who work during the emergency shall receive emergency pay calculated at double time and 1/2 for all hours worked. The reopening of the airport signals the emergency is over and they'll be paid as usual. So can you discuss what emergency pay is and how that multiplier would work?
Yes, definitely. So the county has a document, it's policy number 504, it's titled Pay for Work During Emergencies or Disasters. The Port Authority has a similar policy. And with that policy, basically an emergency for the airport is not, you're calling out the police department or the fire department. An emergency is a hurricane, there is a catastrophic event, there is the unlikely instance of an aircraft crash, or if there's an active shooter, something that requires the closure of the airport, a portion of the airport, and it could be either airport. In that instance, we have, through our policies, the ability to call people in. We have broken down our staff by tiers 1, 2, and 3. Tier 1 are the people, like myself and some of the people in the room that are always on call. Some of them are salaried, some of them are hourly. So using call it the easy one, if there is a hurricane, the airport may be closing a little bit off from the county. That is up to the airport as critical infrastructure to decide when that is, because we have a different role with getting people in to help with evacuation, search and rescue, things of that nature. So what this does is it gives us a means in line with the county to pay the staff that are brought in specifically to work for whatever instance that is. The item to note is, if somebody is called in, they might not be doing their normal job. So if somebody is in accounting, they might be brought in as part of a team to help clean up the roadways, to get something open, or they, on opening day, they might be wearing our red vest, helping people. So the roles are not a one-for-one. We do have an extensive, hurricane plan in that regard, where people are assigned locations. So this gives us that means and methods in line with the county to pay our people. In reference to this, the previous contract did not include the language, so we included the language here to provide that consistency with what the rest of the airport and the county is doing.
Okay, well, respectfully, I think every time we call for help for a first responder that there must be an emergency, right? Saving someone's life in a car wreck, so, it doesn't have to be, I want to make sure that they couldn't call in a bonus every time they put the sirens on.
No, sir,
Because the job of a firefighter is to help someone in need, and then
Right.
the only reason they need a first responder is because we have an emergency, right? So if we just say the word emergency, it wasn't defined as airport closure in this document, how would I know that, right?
Right.
That was my my point of that question.
If I could, Steve, this is also like part of the state of emergency, and I think every city, every county, municipality uses FEMA funding for reimbursement. You're doing a hurricane, for example, once you declare a state of emergency for like the city of Fort City, Cape Coral, Lee County, the Port Authority, once they declare that, then those employees are required to be at work 24/7, 12-hour shifts, for example, they're compensated at pay rate of double time and a half. Correct?
That's correct, and that's what, when I stated that our time frame might not necessarily match up to the counties, but nonetheless, our employees are also being tracked through our finance department. We're keeping the same list that the county would be keeping for reimbursement if it was in the case of a natural disaster. So those are all par for the course, and typically how that goes is if I am calling something, that we are projecting, hey, we're gonna have a hurricane, notice is getting sent to the board, and I'm reaching out to the board. If something were to happen right now and staff that's out on the airfield needs to declare an emergency, the airport's shut down, that doesn't mean that emergency pay is automatically getting kicked in. It's predicated on situation. So a couple years ago, we had the United plane that blew a tire, its tail was blocking the runway. We did not declare an emergency because it was handled during normal business hours. You didn't call people in. It was a huge impact to the airport, but that didn't fall to this criteria. This is of very large magnitude. It's not the same as, the common, thought of what's an emergency, so.
Okay, I know the word emergency, the word safety, these can be broad brush terms, right? I just wanted to make sure every time they responded to anything that might be saving someone's life, which I think they would consider an emergency, right? That they didn't get a bonus, every time the bell went off at the fire station. So, so we can rely on you for your discretion to, if the airport is shut down or it is a state of local emergency, that's the bar threshold that we can rely on your kicking this in, and we'd be notified of that.
Right, yeah, so to staff, to board, I declare an emergency in writing as well.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's part of our documentation, as the commissioner noted, for like FEMA as an example. When did you call it? When did it end? Give me everything in between. So it's very delineated in that regard. The other item to note is, again, it is airport wide for those employees, so it's not just subject to ARF, for this question. It could be anybody.
So as we tie out this cleanup language to match county languages, there may be some other administrative updates to the code or other things that we can do to clean that up, or the definitions of that for emergency purposes.
Yes,
as
we
well.
can definitely look at that.
Okay, thank you for that. So can we talk about for a moment, does anybody else have any questions on that portion? But thank you. So regarding the pay benefits, we left our meeting with unanimous approval at the 109 number, I believe, and then it came, but can you talk to us about how it came back before us today, what changed?
So the difference between the 109 and the number here for the.
We left our shade session saying for unanimous approval at this.
Yeah,
That changed after that fact.
Yeah, so the number that is before the board today for the ARPTech, but I guess actually all of them I'll go back up for just specific to the ARPTech, that 109 did not include the pay range adjustment that we provided all employees at the airport. So that pay range, that I believe it was 3% adjustment, brought it from 109 to 113 in line with the rest of the staff for LCPA. For the pay ranges. So you have the minimum pay range and the maximum. We adjusted those this year. So that 3% was the difference between 109 and 113.
Mr. Chairman, if I could also, by way of explanation, when we went back to the union representatives, part of their voiced concern was the implication of the then existing maximum pay caps, because that affected, I believe, 4 employees. So we had further negotiations with the union, and we came to a tentative agreement, and that's why the contract is before you today, whereby those maximum caps would be increased by 2% in the second and third year of the contract. In return for that concession, the union has agreed to eliminate the wage reopener provisions that were in the previous contract. So they are foregoing the opportunity to revisit wages on an annual basis, which they had in the existing contract. So if this contract goes forward, with all due respect to our firefighter friends, you don't have to deal with union negotiations with them for a 3-year period.
So this basically staggers a 3-year pre-agreement that's fixed rather than, I wasn't here for the last 3 years, I do the old ones on an annual basis. So you'll get the hang of this when you say, it's the first time I ever heard this before, you know. I can still say that on a couple things, you know, but respectfully, so we take a little bit of a bite now, today, and then it staggers, it breaks it up over the 3-year period in a predictable manner, rather than being if we said, hold tight at the 109, then we get to a haggle 2 more times.
Correct.
And it could end up costing more or less.
And again, please keep in mind the distinction between a pay increase and increasing the pay ranges. What we're talking about in this contract with the 2% per year that I discussed was increasing the maximum pay range. It's not a guaranteed 2% pay raise. The firefighters under the contract would get the same pay increase that the board would approve for all employees. This merely increases the pay, the maximum pay cap, so that they're not maxed out in terms of pay.
And I think one thing I learned from you in our review of this yesterday, if we had a 5% raise and we didn't raise the max, and I didn't know all this, I don't have a union shop at my company, right? So if the 5% money, they would still get the money that they would get in a raise. They would just get it in a lump sum payment, right? So they wouldn't, I thought the first time I read this, that if they got a 5% pay raise and they were at the max, that they wouldn't be entitled to the raise, right? Again, as a new commissioner, I thought that was their cap. But they would still get the $5,000 or whatever the money would be. They would just get a lump sum payment. But that legacy costs of going on for the rest of their lives as a pension, that's the escalation that they want to protect. Is that correct?
Mr. Chairman? Yes, under the state retirement system, your state retirement is based on the average of your high 5 wage earning years, multiplied by years of service, multiplied by a service classification factor. So it's in the employee's best interest to have that high 5 as high as possible. The difficulty comes in, and we all recognize this, when you reach the maximum cap, you get that pay in a lump sum, but it doesn't go toward increasing your high 5 for retirement purposes. So over the course of your career, you're actually suffering a harm that will be in perpetuity for the rest of your life as you retire and receive those retirement benefits through the state system. And I would point out that that is the state retirement system that you are obligated to participate in and statutorily cannot opt out of.
On that note, I'd like to say that I think that our purpose here, our goal at the time, though, doing this negotiation was trying to adjust the pay based upon the market. That's why we asked the staff to do a market analysis. I would suggest in the future, we do this 3 years from now, is maybe do a market analysis of international airport staff, not just the local fire departments, because we use Lehigh Acres, San Carlos, Estero, Bonita, to look at pay adjustments. For example, like this pay rate here, we're looking at the 109. This is 4 employees. They're 4 employees that live in our community, they're taxpayers, their kids go to school here, they're consumers, they're being funded, not by taxpayers, by everybody that flies to the airport from the UK, Australia, and everywhere else in the country, the world that comes here. Those 4 employees are getting funded for that. And I think we have to make sure, we're not trying to obviously, it was mentioned about FRS, I don't think FRS is the issue, I think that the employees are making sure they're being paid that's fair and adjusted based upon the market. There's no reason they should have to go across the street, work somewhere else and make more money. You'll be here at the airport. We are the best airport in the country. We want to, provide that. We also want to make sure when you coming in at 150 miles per hour with no landing gear, just to make qualify waiting for you then to run away with some foam, okay? So then my goal was to make sure we provided a good environment for these 4 employees and make sure that pay is based upon what's the market. If you see they can go somewhere else instead of Bonita and make more money, unfortunately, people do move around like that. So my goal was not based upon FRS contributions, based upon making sure we have a fair market here for the employees we have working your service in the airport.
And I can echo the fairness, we all want to be fair, right? And we spend a lot of time in our conversations, just for the public's knowledge, to make sure we raise the floor, and everybody else but the max on the 6th tier was trued up to be close to 100%, which they were shy of that before. We were trying to be very competitive to make sure that we got everybody around 100%. But when the 116% group wanted to be 119%, it just sort of caught me a little bit flat-footed on that. thought they were already ahead of scale, ahead of pace on that, and the fact that we have so many people in that pay grade. I thought I read on your report yesterday that there were 10 people at the $109,000 pay range currently. I don't know where the 4.
I don't have that, I'm sorry, I don't have that, I didn't get that.
But anyway, irregardless, thank you for showing me the staggered approach for the 3 years, basically pre-approving the incremental raise, so it's not like we're not agreeing to this and then having to agree 2 more times. That's helped me clarify that. I do appreciate that. It's just, these shade sessions, we have those and we don't talk again, so we get on camera again. So thank you for indulging me with those explanations. So I'll make a motion.
Sure.
Sorry,
Oh,
go ahead.
yep.
I'll make a motion to approve. Still have
Second
discussion.
that.
Okay, I have a motion second.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, I was glad to hear you make a motion. I was about to do that as well, but I just wanted to share some thoughts too. This was a long process to get here to this point, to get this contract negotiated, and I did want to share my thanks with the folks from the union. And I do want to thank all of our firefighters who are out there every day doing their job regardless of what the negotiations are doing behind the scenes. So thank you very much to the folks who are out there on the front lines too. But I also wanted to thank our team here. Thank you guys for working through this and the hard work that you did to get it to this point. There was many meetings to get here. The one thing that I do appreciate that we've kind of talked about already though that's in this contract is the ability that for the next few years, this bargaining group will get the same as what the airport employees get. We're calling it kind of like a Me Too clause. So if we give a raise to the airport employees, they're going to get a very similar increase then. I like that because personally, I really feel very strongly about treating each group the same. I don't like it when we treat one group differently than another group. And so to me, this contract really does get to that point. It satisfies my desire to get everybody kind of on an equal level of increases where nobody feels like they're being treated differently. So thank you, Mr. Chairman. Happy to support the motion.
Thank you. Commissioner Wayne?
Sure, appreciate it. Certainly, I echo many of the comments that here. I just think that, for the record, for clarity, this was a pay scale adjustment. We pride ourselves to have consistency throughout the organization. We pride ourselves for first right of refusal and certainly acknowledging the employees that we have. And that's really important. Someone that has certainly a lot of people on a payroll in a given period of time. I understand how important it is to keep continuity. Many people don't realize just how difficult it is to replace people, the learning curve you have to go through, the institutional knowledge you lose. It's so important to make sure we do this and honestly being fair to the whole process. And listen, collective bargaining is always an interesting process. I certainly experienced that in Sandoval. There's 2 unions there. So when I got in office in 2007, it was the recessionary times, and we went through this every year. But I think, it also gives kudos to not only staff and to our employees, recognizing that we did an adjustment to salary. And ergo, there wasn't a necessary adjustment to do something in the future for a couple of years. So obviously, it's just recognition of what we did. Can't thank staff enough. Can't thank your team, Henry, and everybody that they did. It comes out with a nice outcome, and certainly appreciate the fact that we've approved this, and it's a second. I think it's a good thing for everyone. And I think Commissioner Pendergrass hit the highlight is this isn't out of taxpayer dollars, and I think that sometimes gets lost in this whole process.
We have one public comment card, if there's no other comments from the commission. Henry Garcia?
Morning, everyone. Henry Garcia, President of Local 1826. I am a firefighter here. I just want to take an opportunity to thank everyone on the board for their foresight to approve this contract. You guys took a huge step forward in the recruitment and retention of firefighters, paying them a good wage, and they're very happy with their contract. We had a unanimous vote of the collective bargaining agreement, so they are very thankful for the foresight that you guys showed in giving them those wage increases. Also like to thank the County Attorney's Office, Airport Director Hennigan, for all their hard work. We really appreciate the partnership. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other public comment on this item?
Team.
Thank you.
We'll come back, we'll close public comment, come back to the board. We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Any objection? No objection, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Number 12. Richard, is this one we have to reconvene?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, if you would please convene as the Board of County Commissioners.
We are now at the Board of the County Commissioners. Number 12.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Sitting as the Board of County Commissioners, the purpose of agenda item 12 is to conduct a TEFRA hearing with regard to the potential issuance of revenue series bonds Mr. Andor is here for the staff presentation. Following the closure of the public hearing, item 13 would be to approve the resolution approving the issuance.
Okay.
That can only take place after the public hearing.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Hi, good morning, Dave Andor, CFO for the record. As was stated, items 12, 13, 14 all relate to the bond issuance. We'll have that set for hearing. Item 13, as you said, will be approval of the Lee County Airport Revenue Bond Series 2026 in an amount not to exceed $875 million. And then the same item will be introduced under the Board of Health Commissioners. So we were last in the bond market in October 2024 to do the first borrowing to fund terminal expansion phase 2 Concourse E. Now we're coming back to the board for approval to raise the additional funds needed to finish that project off, as well as raise additional funds for terminal expansion phase 1 and to build the new public safety building. As part of this bond deal, we also have the opportunity to refund one of our existing series 2015 bonds that are now callable and can be refinanced in order to reduce our overall debt service costs. So as the slide states, the bond issuance achieves 2 strategic objectives. It funds 3 major capital improvement projects, and it refunds an existing bond series to capitalize on an interest savings opportunity. This slide provides an overview of the Series 2026 bonds, the uses, amount, the tax structure, and other features. So I'll quickly touch on the bond issuance, our plans, and then I'll hand it over to our municipal advisor, Bill Case from PFM. To go over some of the specifics, talk about market conditions, affordability, and the impact of the bond issuance to our overall debt profile. So it's important to note that the not to exceed amount of $875 million that was shown on the last slide, it factors in all the uses of the funds associated with the issuance. So that's the deposit to the project fund for construction. It's the deposit to fund our required reserve account, costs to issue the bonds, capitalized interest, and any other ancillary costs. Those estimated amounts are broken out on a later slide that Bill Case will walk you through. So before I move off this slide, I'd just like to make a statement that these bonds, like everything else at our airport, is funded by user fees. No local taxes go towards funding these funds. So on slide 4, we show the funding plan for terminal expansion phase 1. In March 2025, the board voted to proceed with the project redesign and to increase the project budget to $678 million. We always plan to be in the bond market for terminal expansion phase 2 Concourse E around this time, so the timing works out nicely to raise the additional funds needed to complete phase 1 as well. We're planning on construction proceeds of about $250 million out of this bond series to go towards the completion of phase 1. On slide 5, we show the funding plan for terminal expansion phase 2 Concourse E. As mentioned, the second bond issuance was always planned for this project in order to arrange the funding in line with the overall spending on the project. We were in the bond market last October to raise approximately October 2024, to raise approximately $525 million to get the project kicked off. Now we plan to be back in the market in February to raise an additional $332 million to finish the project. This will complete the funding needed for the total project budget of just over $1 billion. On slide 6, we show the funding plan for the new public safety building, which will be the new home for the Airport Police Department. This is a single-story building that is approximately 21,000 square feet and is located southwest of the terminal building along Air Cargo Lane. Construction on the project began earlier this year and is scheduled to finish in the fall of 2026. The project has a total project budget of a little over $18 million, with the majority of the funding coming from this bond issuance. As mentioned earlier, we have the opportunity to refund our Series 2015 bonds, which have an outstanding principal balance of roughly $33 million. We typically target a minimum of 3% net present value savings, and based on current market conditions, this refunding is estimated to have net present value savings of approximately 15%. So it's a great opportunity for us to take advantage of some interest savings while we're already going to be in the market. On my last slide here, I want to take a moment to point out the excellent team of industry-leading advisors and legal counsel that we have working on this bond issuance. The same team has been in place the last few times we've gone out to markets, and we've been very successful at developing affordable long-term financing plans for our airports while structuring our debt to maximize the marketability of our debt to investors. So hats off to our excellent business partners. And with us today, we have Bill Case, our municipal advisor from PFM Financial Advisors, LLC. Bill is located out of the Tampa office and has been working on our account for a number of years. And he's going to walk you through our debt portfolio. We'll talk a little bit about the specifics of the bond issuance and also touch on affordability. So also, I want to point in the audience with us today, we have Doug Draper from B of A Securities. B of A is serving as our lead underwriter on this issuance, and we also have Tom Giblin and Ritesh Patel from Neighbors Giblin Dickerson, who serves as our bond counsel.
Good morning, Commissioners. Bill Case, PFM Financial Advisors. I'll walk you through the overview of the authority's debt portfolio as well as the background in the Series 2026 bonds. There's currently 4 series of bonds outstanding, approximately $862 million. Next year's debt service is $62 million. This is the estimated sources and uses for the bond issue. Approximately $725 million of proceeds that are required to fund $600 million of project fund, the $34 million of the refunding escrow deposit, that's the refunding of the Series 2015 bonds. There will be capitalized interest of approximately $37 million, a deposit to the debt service reserve fund of $51 million, and then various costs of issuance, including the underwriter fees of $3.3 million. To the right, the average life on this bond issue would be approximately 21 years. We are showing an all-in cost of 4.72%. This is approximately 50 basis points above market rates. We use that for level of conservatism for the financial projections to make sure that the finance program is affordable. After the bonds are issued, there will be approximately $1.5 billion of bonds outstanding. Next year's, or fiscal year 2026 debt service would be $80.6 million. Here are some 2 very key financial metrics that we monitor to ensure that there's affordability of the program. First is the airline cost per enplanement. Over the projection period, looking to get to $20.34. That is in line with other airports with similar passenger levels that are undertaking large capital programs. So it is well within the range of what the rating agencies in the market would be looking at. Down below is a very key metric for the for the affordability of the project. This is debt service coverage, the ability for the authority to pay their debt. Bond documents have a requirement of 1.25 times coverage. Over the projection period, we're looking at coverage levels between 1.45 and 1.47. So there's a healthy cushion there to really ensure the affordability. Also, the airline agreement does have provisions that ensures that they will ensure that the coverage maintains above 1.4. So there's always going to be adequate coverage above the legal requirements. This is the financing schedule. We're scheduled to meet with the rating agencies January 28th and 29th. That will be coming in for a site visit and tour. Expected to get ratings the week of February 9th. We will then post the POS in the same week, and then scheduled for a bond pricing the week of February 23rd, followed by a closing the week of March 9th. So I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions this time for staff?
I have a question, just to kind of put it in very simple terms, and I understood it by looking at the debt coverage ratio or number that you put out there, but, in simple terms, so we're borrowing money here, you wanna know when you go and take out any kind of loan, can you make the payments on that loan? So maybe Dave might be the best person to answer this, but I'm not sure. Can we make the payments on our loan based on our current budgeting and our current financial situation?
Yes, it's important to note that the airline agreements that we have, we negotiate over a 2-year time period, and we are now in the first year of that agreement. It's written in there that they provide a safety net, so when the debt goes up, the rates and charges go up. So we collect that in revenues from the airlines, so that we will meet those coverage, and we meet budget. So the short answer is yes.
Yes, okay, and then I looked at the cost per enplanement number, going up to $20.34 by the year 2030, it looked like. Has that been run by the airlines as well, and they're on board with it? I mean, I'm sure they don't like it, but.
Short answer is yes, and we meet with them at least once a year, and before we even began these projects, we discuss these projects with them. They want these projects completed. They're really excited to move in here, and we update them on the cost of the project. And so far, these projections are below what we've shown them.
Okay, excellent. Thanks,
Thank
Mr.
you,
Chairman.
Commissioner Wayne?
Sure. Thank you for the presentation. Appreciate the briefing. You know, a couple things to highlight, and I appreciate what Commissioner Hammond just said. You know, this bond accomplishes an awful lot of things. So it not only has to save an awful lot of money as a result of paying bonds off that obviously were at a higher interest rate. We probably timed the market as best as we possibly could, given the environment. The Federal Reserve has certainly dropped interest rates and continue to do so. Your approach is conservative in nature. Someone has purchased municipal bonds most of his life. I appreciate your conservatism, but there is heightened demand as you start to have Dow Jones at historical highs to go to the bond market, look for the bond market for some security. So that is accomplished. The other thing that's really noteworthy, two things. One, most bonds when they're issued might have 110, maybe 115% coverage. Covenants are very common, certainly in the banking world. I've been dealing with them my entire life. So I understand that is. So 125 is certainly on the higher side. So that gives everybody a cushion. But on top of that, we're at 146, 147. So there's ample things. The other thing of noteworthy as we go through this process, the airline has a true-up process every year as we go through our budget. So again, we're exceeding our expectations. You come in conservative with interest rate. You see the money coming in the door. There's an opportunity for the airlines not only to appreciate that we're building this, we're allowing them to expand, make more revenues, but if we believe in our plan and the conservative things you have, there's opportunities from that you would see adjustments to their favor, because that's what this has done. So I think it's accomplished so many things. I just want everyone to understand just the challenges you have in municipal financing, doing what you need to do, the creativity of paying bonds off, the ability to adhere to very, very conservative covenants, which is unprecedented in the bond market, certainly at 125, and still being able to come out at an interest rate that's going to be very, very. So the savings, not only paying the bonds off, but the savings in a lower interest rate given a couple of years ago are significant nature, and we continue to have the opportunity to even reduce our costs as we continue to meet and or exceed expectations and projections. So thank you so much.
Any other questions or comments?
I just had a question. So basically, the way you described this, the airline is almost like a guarantor of our success in this bonds because they're covering us if something falls short. They're there to help support this financially.
Correct. They're a key business partner, yes, and communication with them and trust is very important.
So they're willing to participate and backstop some of these things because they get to participate in the new facilities, and that enhances their business opportunity. So they're willing to basically support us in that if something happens. So what I wasn't here during COVID when there was nobody flying, and what happens to an airline's guarantee or participation if the market or something goes down? How does that work?
So as part of that guarantee, they guarantee us to maintain at 1.4 coverage ratio. And then in terms of that, the other impact is if things didn't go well, the amount of planes coming to the airport, that would affect their revenue sharing as well. Ours would go down, theirs would go down as well.
So same tide floats all boats, basically. Okay, I just wanted to make sure. It's easy when times are good to spend money, but I didn't know what the other side felt like during those times. So I love the whole program, but I just wanted to make sure I clarified that. Thank you.
Luckily, during COVID, a lot of people came here. And they kept coming, and they're still coming. So.
Yes.
Any other questions or anything for a motion?
Yeah, just one last question, and then I'd love to make a motion real quick. If you could go back a couple slides, I saw something about a reserve that's also being funded out of the closing there. There you go. Debt Service Reserve Fund. Is that basically 50.9? Yeah, Debt Service Reserve Fund 50. Is that basically 50.9 million bucks to also act as a reserve to help us make those payments if there was a shortfall one year?
Yes, and that will be a deposit into the existing reserve fund, which will get it up to about $100 million, and it's roughly equal to 1 year's worth of debt service.
Okay, so that's another stop to mitigate risk in case we do have something happen that we need that too. So I think that's fantastic. Mr. Chairman, I'll go ahead and make the motion for approval.
I'll second.
We have a motion, second. Any public comment on number 12?
Mr. Chairman, actually, I need you to open the TEFRA hearing to solicit public comment.
For number 13?
We're still on number 12, please.
So,
You would open up the hearing for public comment to solicit input on the adoption of the resolution and issuance of Lee County Airport Revenue Bonds, Series 2026A1 and 2026A2.
okay. So we have a public hearing now on that hearing.
Perfect, thank you.
Any public comment on this hearing? Come back to the board.
Now, if you would, please entertain the motion to adopt the TEFRA resolution and the issuance of the Lee County Revenue Bonds as indicated in item 12.
And just for clarity, so moved.
Okay.
I'll second that.
We have a motion, Commissioner Hammond, second by Commissioner Wayne. Any other discussion? Any objection? No objection, motion carries. Thank you.
Retry.
State convening of the board, board number
Yes, sir.
13.
Need one more, please. Item 13, sitting as the Board of County Commissioners, I need you to approve a resolution approving the issuance of Lee County Revenue Bonds, Series 2026A1 and 2026A2. Authorize the payment of related issuance costs and authorize the chair or designee to execute sale documents and all documents necessary to complete the transaction.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion, Commissioner Hammond, second Commissioner Malika. Any public comment on that, number 13? Okay, come back to board. Any objection? No objection, motion carries. Thank you. Now we will reconvene as the Port Authority.
Yes, sir. Thank you. And item 14 is identical to item 13. We just need you to adopt the resolution sitting as the Board of Port Commissioners.
I'll make that motion.
Commissioner Wayne makes the motion.
I'll second.
Commissioner Malika, second. Any public comment on 14? Any objection? No objection, motion carries. Thank you. Administrative agenda number 15.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Number 15 is the rate and fee settlement. Dave, if you'd like to introduce that.
Administrative item number 15 is the annual recalculation of airline rates and fees that we do every year in accordance with our long-term airline use and lease agreement with the city carriers. I'll just give a quick recap of the year and how the settlement ended up. This is the first year of this new 10-year agreement that had a number of changes to how we bill the airlines. So as a reminder, everything we bill the airlines throughout the year is based on estimated budget figures. So at the end of the year, we take all of our actual revenues, expenses, and airline activity and compare them to what we had budgeted. On most years, our expenses come in under budget and airline activity is right at what we project or a little over. So we typically refund the signatory carriers for the overpayment in most years. So this year was a little unique due to some of the changes with the new airline agreement. So when everything shook out, the signatory carriers owe us a little over $1 million. And then the other piece of the year-end calculation that we do is the revenue sharing of the carriers' net revenues, which you can also think of as our profits for the year. So under the new agreement, the airport keeps 70% of those net revenues, and the airlines will receive 30%. The total net revenues were $30.7 million for fiscal year 2024-2025. Port Authority retains $21.5 million, and the airlines will receive $9.2 million for the 30% share. So just as a reminder as to why we revenue share, it's part of a negotiated business deal. And in return, we get a safety net from the airlines guaranteeing that we need a healthy debt coverage level that we need with all the construction going on. And so they pay a little more than they normally would if our revenues up to maintain a higher coverage. That's what I discussed earlier in that presentation. So to wrap up the item, after board approval, we would cut checks to the airlines totaling $8.1 million. That factors in the $1 million they owe us from the settlement and the $9 million we owe them from the revenue sharing. So all in all, the airline should be pleased with the year. Our overall cost per employment was below budget, and our revenue sharing amount is more than what we projected. So it's important to note that our airport consultant, Ricardo and Associates, reviewed all of our data, advised us on any suggested changes, and signed off on the final amount. So this whole process goes through a detailed review. Are there any questions I can answer on this year's settlement process?
Any questions from the board?
I'll make a motion to approve, Mr. Chairman.
I would gladly second it.
So, any objection? No objection, motion carries.
Chairman, on
Oh, public, I'm sorry. Public comment on this item, please. Rookie chair, been 10 minutes. Any public comment? Seeing none, bring it back to the board for final approval. So any objection? No objection, motion carries.
Great job.
That's one. All right, commissioner items, committee appointments. Anyone?
Yeah, now that the chair's gone, let's have some fun. Joking. I have no items today, Mr. Chair.
I have no items, Mr. Chair.
I have no items today.
All right. All right, comments from the chair of the ASMC.
Well, I'd just like to welcome Commissioner Petrosky once again and say that the management committee is here to serve you, and anything we can do to assist you, just give us a call.
I
And
appreciate it.
I'm glad that you're on board.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Any other comments from any other members?
I've got one.
Okay, go ahead.
I just wanted to thank Commissioner Wayne for his service this year under trying circumstances, all the extra efforts he went to attend our meetings, and we just hope 2026 is a much better year for him.
Amen.
Amen. All right. Anything else? Executive director items.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd also like to welcome new commissioner. Welcome to the airport and we look forward to working with you. I also, again, want to call out all the work for this bond. It's been a tremendous, Dave and team and Brian and legal, they underscore the amount of time that this takes. It has been a large undertaking, so we appreciate all the support and all the hard work that everybody has put in. And I also want to just kind of note, again, the budget, being able to have a revenue share at the end of the year means that the airport has been good stewards of their funds, that we're being fiscally responsible, and, I think we're in great shape moving forward. With that being said, we couldn't do all this without our passengers. And the first one to note is we have, again, during December, we had 1,102,000 passengers come through our RSW. It is a decrease from last December of about 1.7%, but for fiscal year 25, it's great news, record-breaking news. We had 11,154,458 passengers come through. It's about a 1.1%. So it's pretty neat when 1.1% is about 120,000 passengers. So we're pumping through some people. So while 1.1% is a small number in magnitude, we're ready for all of this 14 gates in our new expansion in the checkpoint to come through. Traffic leader this year was Delta, 217,000 passengers, followed by Southwest, United, American, and JetBlue. And then across town at Page Field, they've also been having great numbers. Their December was up year over year 5%. So the airports are looking good moving into the new year.
Terrific.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Just a couple of echoes. Steve, listen, I appreciate the report and everything you've done. Your staff has done a tremendous jobs. I mean, it's always hard, if you've ever operated a business, to be under construction and try to have the experience. So, given just all the complications, it seems like it's been going seamlessly, and appreciate all your hard work in doing so. It was nice to be out at the airport when we did the topping. It's amazing how quickly this is going, and it is by far the most talked about thing, and I'm out on the road by so many people within Southwest Florida. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'd like to echo that. Being new and just the time that I've had with the briefings with you and your staff, I'm thoroughly impressed with what you're doing in light of being under construction and the way that the management's being held and the fiscal responsibility that you're taking with the budget and the bonds. So kudos. Thank you.
And just to make a clarification in case I misspoke, those 11 million passengers are calendar year. It's not our fiscal year, so ending up in December.
Great.
Great report, great results. I want to know, I flew back in here last night from Tallahassee, and I got to see coming through Delta, and all of the passenger experience areas, everything's clean, all the whiteboard, all the facades are all up there, nice, neat and clean, and so you wouldn't even know somebody's hammering the nails behind the wall, so, as it was a few months ago. So the experience is getting better, and I'm excited to see the progress, so kudos to that, and thanks for keeping us all safe with the FAA approval again for the sterling results 8 years in a row, so I wanted to also call you out for that, so, anything else?
No, sir, thank you.
Port attorney items.
Nothing further, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Do we have any public comment on any other matters? Easy crowd today. All right. Seeing none, I will call this meeting adjourned.